So recording has started. So we are recording this session. So I think we'll start now. So good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
And welcome to the second episode of SCM Talk Show Season 5. The last episode was on resilience in logistics. And the title of this episode is Supply Chain Planning. This topic has been chosen to tap vast experience of the speaker. As usual, this session will also be recorded and made available for free on 𝗦𝗵𝗶 mobile app as well as the 𝗦𝗵𝗶 YouTube channel. Like our earlier practice, we are putting everyone on listen-only mode. And like all previous times that we have, please submit your questions in the chat box. We will take few most asked questions at the end of this season, end of the session, if time permits. So it's my pleasure to introduce today's speaker, Mr. 𝗵𝗵𝗶 𝗂𝗵. 𝗵𝗵 recently retired from Caterpillar India. In his about 34 years of working with Caterpillar, he held various positions and responsibilities ranging from inventory management and reporting processes, SAP production planning, SME, production scheduler, master scheduler, Six Sigma black belt, and S&OP coordinator. He also was the business manager, Electric Power Division, SAP project manager at Thailand Greenfield Facilities, project consultants for underground mining plant at Thailand, etc. So I think he has had a lot of responsibilities and a lot of experience with production as well as with SAP implementation. So I think it's a very, very vast experience. So I'm not sure if I have been able to cover all the achievements of 𝗵𝗵𝗶. Anything that I left out that I missed, 𝗵𝗵𝗶, would you like to please add?
First of all, thank you very much for the detailed introduction. Too many job profiles. I gone through this about 34 years of experience. It's my pleasure and honor to be invited in your talk show and see you face to face after a long time. So only you covered everything. Just I would like to give my latest job responsibility before retirement. I retired from the digital analytics teams where my core responsibility was as like a functional consultant or the expert in the data analytics team where I help my colleagues to develop dashboards for manufacturing facilities in the area of demand forecast, supply chain, inventory, including aftermarket service parts analysis. Before that, I also played sometimes independently and sometimes in the same role is the supply chain network planning modeler, wherein my responsibility was to develop a supply chain network model end to end from supplier to the end customer, analyze it and project the plan versus actual inventory optimization levels. So this was my the network planning model development was actually an in-depth analysis of all the parameters of supply chain from the supplier till the customer, which is sometimes they call supply chain orchestration. So this was the latest experience before retirement. I can't hear you. I think you're on mute.
Sorry.
Yep.
So I said thank you very much, 𝗵𝗵𝗶, and it's our pleasure that you have accepted. Thanks for accepting our invitation to share your industry and best practice oriented insight with our listeners. We always, bring practice oriented knowledge on the table for our listeners to enlighten with. So thank you so much for accepting our invitation. Now, to begin with, I would like you to give a brief about Caterpillar environment where you manage supply chain planning.
Out of my total 34 years of experience, I spent 20 years in genset package business, which is called as electric power division. Out of these 20 years, 16 years in engine and genset manufacturing facility. Then I moved on to sales and marketing division, where I was in the role of business planning manager, mostly taking care of the demand planning, pricing, and dealer interaction on the forecasting. Rest of my 14 years, I was associated with the machine division, which is the manufacturing of construction and mining machines. So I always was in touch with the manufacturing facilities and the processes throughout the 34 years of experience.
So, were you at Hosur initially and then moved to Thiruvallur? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I was in Hosur engine plant, started my career in the Hosur engine plant, then moved on to the marketing, and then mostly I stayed in Bangalore.
I see. Okay.
But it's like remote working and traveling. So Thailand facility, when we are assignment, I used to travel 2 weeks in Thailand, 2 weeks in India.
I see. Okay. And another interesting question I would like to probably will be more interested. CAT machines are big machines, I mean, I'm not sure about the engine and genset facility. Are these make to stock items or assemble to order items or make to order items? I mean, what kind of item these are?
Most of them is, if you talk about the gensets, I think it will fall in the assemble to order categories mostly. And few of them will be stock to order, but most of them will assemble to order category.
And the large machines that you talk about that in a Thiruvallur plant or somewhere, they are all make to
Those
order?
machines, I think mostly I can say make to order, but not I can say make to order is again the make to order is very close to get to engineer to order. So it's
Yeah,
basically
yeah.
a make to order, but I can say is assemble to order, but the predefined option attachments frozen in advance.
Great, great. So
Only
I
high
think,
volume machines of construction industries, they may go for a partial business for stocking.
yeah, long back I had the pleasure of, visiting Thiruvallur plant, and,
Yeah.
I at that time, I don't remember the name. There was a CEO who was an American who himself was CPIM certified. And then we did a lot of CPIM training in a resort outskirts of Chennai.
Just I joined that
And
training.
yeah, you were there in the training, and that was excellent experience. Is a very different kind of training. I've never done something like that again. I think from morning breakfast till dinner, I think we were doing training, and training. So that was a very good experience. That was.
Most of the participants still remember that training.
Very unique one. Very unique one.
Yeah.
And what was the name of the CEO, if you remember, MD?
MD, I don't remember right now, but the lead taken by was Mr. Prem Kumar.
Yeah, Prem Kumar. Yeah, Mr. Prem Kumar.
Prem Kumar taken the lead that time.
Yeah. So where is Prem Kumar now? I don't know.
He is also
I've
retired.
lost it. Yeah.
He is retired, but he is in touch. I am in touch with him.
Okay. Yeah. So privately, I'll speak to you to share his
Sure, I will do
contacts.
that.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much. Yeah. So we all know that planning is most important in supply chain management, but all of us struggle with planning. So I think planning is one struggle. I think every business faces, large, small, Indian, outside, abroad, European, American, whatever. And it's a challenge how to make the plan in such a way that, you don't have deviations, the plan and actuals are quite close. As we know that usually there is a large variance, between planning and actual. So I think the beginning we have demand planning is the beginning where we start from everywhere. So let me start with demand planning. What are the challenges in demand planning and how demand planning can be made more accurate, if I may ask?
I think in my view, demand planning can be divided into two parts. Since I played the role on both the sides, one is at the marketing side, another is from the manufacturing side. So if you can see is that the manufacturing demand planning is it's got a different total scenario. They have a different uh, constraint and limitations. Whereas the marketing side demand planning is more of a customer driven and the uh, that particular season demand driven. How are you going to do that? So obviously the organization main objective remain the same, the product availability. Whether are you meeting that product availability lead time, what you promised to your customer or dealer, and considering all your constraint, material availability, capacity planning, manufacturing lead time, blah, 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 you can take all the details. So to deal with the demand planning challenges, we start is the one golden rule is a one set of numbers.
Yeah.
When you are going to commit, everybody is going to talk the same set of numbers from top to bottom. It is not like, okay, let's start with X number anyway, we'll end up with X minus 5 or X minus 10. So that is a golden rule of S&OP that you always talk one set of numbers and spend everyone in the organization follow those planned and committed numbers. So they'd say either build plan or ship plant. And then again, when you finalize your demand for the shipment or manufacturing, you should always follow the S&OP principles and decide this is my firm zone, this is my tentative zone, this is my long zone. So current man is basically gone. You never talk about the current man. You are going to make any changes. You always talk about the next month and the plus 2 months or plus 3 months. So we just was to have that you can plan what you can build, and once you commit it, you build what you planned with a single set of number. That is the core of the demand planning, successful demand planning. So once you get into the detailed discussions with all your process partners, stakeholders, with all the constraint and the demand and lead time and availability, resources, anything, then you come to the one set of number. That is, I think, core of a supply S&OP process. And this is once you have a robust process in place, I think your demand planning accuracy increases, including even you can build in the seasonality of the demand, or seasonality is sometimes in the product you don't come the seasonality, but you can say big order if you get from a single customer, how are you going to manage? And that is where the strategic decision of the organization or management comes, cost versus profit and return on investment and so on. But if once you get all the stakeholder in the same page and arrive at the single set of numbers that everybody should follow, and uh, I can say put a full focus on reluctantly achieving that target or not reluctantly, I say whether you like it or not, you have to work on the achieve that goal what is agreed by everybody.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so I've seen, I think, 100, 150 organizations, manufacturing organizations, and whatever I have seen of Caterpillar, I think is highly process driven and more disciplined as compared to many other organizations that I have seen. So that I can share with others. So one question I have, very interesting one, I think we have more data, we have more powerful computers, we have better forecasting algorithm, better math, we have more advanced solutions, and we are talking about solutions which are based on AI ML based, but still we are struggling with forecasting accuracy. Where do you see the future of forecasting going, and how much is the hype and how much is the reality?
Forecasting, this is a very interesting subject. And they, I
Yeah.
think from the, I think ages they are using forecasting is a art than more than the science. I can say with all this improvement of advanced solution, AI, ML, it will become a fine arts, not more than that. Because still, when you work on the forecasting, it is still driven by is customer driven and what you committed. So it is always a very fine line between meeting the product availability lead time and the customer demand. So you have all the data based on your past experience, the future demand, and whatever you planned is still driven by the current and the near future constraint, the challenges what you have, and ever changing customer demands in the short period of time. So there are too many variables. To, if you wanted to say, I want to achieve 80%, 90% forecast accuracy, it is not in your control. So it is very, even, yes, sure, with all this AI driven data and whatever you have, definitely industry standard of forecast accuracy may improve a little bit, but still it is going to be a art how you are managing. So for example, if anywhere you would like to manage your forecasting accuracy, you will end up planning the prime product inventory in various different nodes, either at the facility or the dealer or stocking node or in the warehouse. And then you take the call. Are you more focused on forecasting or you are more focused on the profitability? So this is always going to be a strategic decision. And when you take a strategic decision to for business point of view, then your forecast accuracy comes down. If you improve the forecast accuracy, you may end up having more inventory or other challenges. So
Right.
uh,
Yeah.
I think yes, with AI and all other inputs, industry forecast accuracy standard may increase, but not drastically. It is still driven by the strategic decisions.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So I think you had a great S&OP process. I know that Caterpillar had a great S&OP process for the country and for the region. I think global. I think several levels of S&OP process. I remember that. So, what are the key things that you would say in S&OP, and that is in terms of theory, in terms of training, and what are the realities in challenges in implementing and sustaining? Sustaining is another challenge. Implementing is one challenge, and sustaining S&OP processes, there is another challenge. And I think you mentioned, and I also remember that Caterpillar went to a Class A status evaluation and got Class A status. So I'll ask you a little bit later what is Class A, but what are the implementing challenges, sustaining challenges of S&OP process?
So I think it is a long time back. It's almost a 22 years back. I undergone the training, and the first training which I attended was a very senior level or executive level or management level training. I was very fortunate to participate in that. So the training outcome, when what we got a very high level overview of S&OP process benefits, where we talk about the predefined robust processes in place, which is going to help you in demand planning and shipment, and definitely which will lead to better improved decision making and result with the profitability and cross-functional stakeholders coming on the same page and achieving the target what is set by the organization. Now, saying all this at very high level, when you come to the implementation, there are many challenges. How are your processes, the existing processes are set up? Are they going to be robust enough to meet your target what you plan? So for an example, when you start with first you define your products, how are you going to track the demand by region, by product family, by profitability, by size, whatever, whichever product you have. First, you have to define which level are you going to analyze those results. It is not like at the organization top level profit and loss account. You have to go to the next level. So at least 3 or 4 level. Then you are going to talk about each and every process, like you say demand planning, forecasting, or inventory, or logistic, anything. You identify a process owner. Who is going to own the process? Who is going to be responsible? And all those process owner as stakeholder month on month attend the predefined processes by the S&OP. And you take a call and make a decision, and you come back and say, hey, this is the process, these are the gaps, this to be improvement. You come back with your RCCA, root cause corrective action plan, every month. So the biggest challenge is of any change process or new process you are implementing or going ahead. What I have seen over the period of time and outside industry I heard is change management. How effectively are you going to manage your change? So it should be driven as a top down approach. If your management and executive are committed and see for the success, they will ensure that it has been followed and implemented. So the first success mantra of such change management is the first one, and second, getting all your process and stakeholder following the process what you establish, that lead to the sustainable process. It's not like you start with a 1 month, 2 month, and then it's get diluted. Okay, I achieved that target. Then you get into the relaxed mode. So sustainability is month on month. You keep following that process, and you definitely reap the benefit of that uh, uh, implementation.
And hopefully no one at the higher level will break the process, I mean, and have the discipline to follow it.
Yes, if it is driven from the top, I think it's more means closely followed, I can say.
Yeah. So I think very interestingly, I mean, I think the class A process, the class A status that you achieved. So what were the parameters? I mean, I know that there's a huge list. There was a book which talks about ABCD
Yeah.
checklist, so I think, but broadly speaking, what were the parameters on which your plants were evaluated on class A status?
Okay, there were, as you rightly said, there was a big list of parameters to be followed, and ABCD checklist was exhaustive, is like a book which was used for the audit purpose, and each and every question was audited to the for the respect to process owners. The majority of the key indicators or the process indicators, you can say, or parameters, is like the master production schedule performance, production plan performance, customer delivery performance, supplier delivery performance, forecast accuracy performance. Then you have a inventory record accuracy, the BOM accuracy performance, and there are many such master data accuracy. So as you improve, moved on to ERP and other systems, then you get into the more of those performance. And many of them, if you by name, if you go by, these are all the process indicators. When you say you have a robust process, these are the indicator which shows how robust your process is. When the process is robust, your supply delivery performance should be 90% or 95% or 85%, whatever target you set. So these are the key performance indicators. If you achieve, I think most of the other performance indicators fall in place. These are the high level performance indicators.
Right. I think this was a very tough checklist, if I remember.
Yes, very
Very tough
exhaustive
list.
and tough.
Yeah. Very exhaustive and very tough. And I think the auditors who used to come and audit, on class A were also very tough.
Very tough.
Very tough, yeah. So let me ask you, you also, I mean, held a role of a master scheduler. So what are the challenges of master scheduler as compared to, I think, SNOP process owner, coordinator has different challenges, but master scheduler has different challenges. And how did you help improve some of the CAD processes as master scheduler?
So at the time of going into S&OP process implementation, I was in the role of master scheduler. So some of the key performance indicators were under my ownership, like master production schedule, production plan, customer delivery performance. I was the owner for that. So, and as well as I was a lead, one of the lead class A lead who was responsible for maintaining this performance indicator. So I can very happily say the master scheduler job was one of my most challenging but satisfying role, because when we started, this was like a transition period. I started as a production planning scheduler. That time we didn't had a very high uh, advanced ERP system and all. I have almost managed 3 or 4 transition in the MRP systems, which I helped to develop. So I'm main responsibility with the master scheduler. When I was having the job role, I was the responsible for the facility level inventory maintenance, MPS preparation of master production schedule, production plan, and forecasting accuracy. And of course, when I have forecast accuracy, I have to be responsible for supply delivery performance. So major challenges was to ensure that what production plan and MPS you prepare, it is month on month is met. If you are going to fail and your performance is not below up to the mark, minimum 95% plus, then it is a failure from my side to how did you plan? What are the factors you are not considers? So basically most challenges is how are we going to learn from your mistake? Like how did you fail? So you have to identify the each process owner stakeholder and get from them get the reason for the misses or the gaps. It is not blaming anybody. That is where we used to get into most argument, and the effect should not be negative. You should see how constructively you should build on the gaps and the challenges to see that next month you are not going to miss. And so that's why I said you build what you plan what you can build and build what you plan. So I had to most challenging time for me as considering all the constraint and the marketing and sales demand. I should plan what we can meet or what we can build. Even if you build, you should be able to ship out from the facility successfully. So that is what at the same time when the S&OP process come, it really helped to get all the key players in the same table, get the commitment and agree upon the common one set of numbers, which was a success to meet those key parameters and maintain the inventory. After doing everything, if you say, even if you made all the parameters, the next questions you get from the uh, facility manager, hey, my inventory has gone 2x. And the every month I was responsible to give a explanation what I projected inventory to be. I had to supposed to give every month the project inventory projection for the coming months. And when you go to the actuals, oh, last month you said X amount of $1 million, now it is become a 1.5x. So where did you miss? So I should be able to give a good convincing answer that why did you miss? And I'm very proud to say and happy that many a times I achieved the target within plus minus 3%. And that was a shocking for everybody. How did you manage that? But it is again, it just happened once. Now you can't manage inventory of the big facility or the operations from supplier to end customer. There should be always plus minus 10%. It's very difficult to maintain. It's not in most of the variable is not in your hand.
That is correct. So one question I would like to ask you, master scheduler has lot of pressure from both ends, from
Yes.
demand side as well as from supply side. And how did you manage that? That's a very difficult job.
Yes, production planner is more of like a subset of the master scheduler. So I graduated from production planning to the master scheduling. So production planner, I was constrained only to build a production plan. That time I didn't have a responsibility of inventory and ship performance. Only I was focusing on uh, building the master production schedule. The challenge was here is the cross-functional teams. How you get into the agreement from all. So let's say we have a supplier constraint, you have a manufacturing constraint, you have a capacity constraint with the parts which made in-house, you have a constraint from the parts coming from all over the world, and you have a shift constraint. You can't say that you can go ahead and build in 3 shifts. You can't you can dictate that term. You know only one shift you have to make. So you have to consider all the constraint and then get the consensus from everybody that you are going to deliver the parts in this time and this particular day, so that will be then only the assembly person will able to build. And so considering all the constraint and build up a MPS plan, get a approval from the stakeholders, all the stakeholders before releasing. So there will be always give and take before you finally release the plan. And what I learned the most after a couple of months is you always talk about the next month and beyond that. You don't talk about the current month. Current month only you will do the analysis in the next month. What did you achieve? What did you did not achieve? Why it failed? So that was the one. And then of course, when we got into the S&OP process, it became a more easy because all the stakeholder process owners were in the one. So building a MPS and production plan become easy once you have a robust process in place.
Great. I'm sure, building consensus is the
Yeah.
toughest part, because everybody wants to have their way. So it's very difficult. Initially, you said that you acted as a production planner.
Yes.
And I'm sure production planners have different challenges and different experiences. So what were your challenges as a production planner?
Production planner is again the main thing is when I was working closely. So the production planner, then another extension of that activity was to ensure the material availability at the point of use. So point of use, and then you are matching to the customer orders, the forecasting accuracy, you are able to matching, you made a commitment to the shipment plan. So it is just not only the production of the machines or the product or the engines, but you have to ensure, you have to facilitate the shipment and how much inventory are you going to hold at the various levels. If you are going to push too much machines in the planning, you are going to increase the W work in progress. You are going to have the finished good inventory. You are going to have the component inventory, because as a production planner, you are responsible to run the MRP. You are going to generate the demand for all the lower level components. So you have to be very careful. What are you asking? What are you driving the demand of the component level or the finished good level? That was the more challenge.
So I think from the buyer, not buyer, actually purchase planning point of view, what challenges they face? I'm sure they're different than production planners.
Yes, actually, I was not actually in the role of purchase planner ever, but I worked them with very closely. So, so we used to get a lot of like them comments on the face. You don't know what problem we face. You only work in the four walls of the manufacturing facility, whereas we have to work outside the organization. Yes, they are right. Their variables are different, and many of them are not under control, like transportation, logistic point of view, weather, and many constant at the supplier end. So purchase planner is definitely goes through a tougher time because he has to no, work across the streams, which is beyond the organization. And again, there are a lot many things when you get the component is not reaching time, you get rejection, the rework, rust sometime, the weather is like that. There are many part numbers which are very, tolerance is very high. So it should be, so there are many challenges which is uh, different than the manufacturing facility. But more or less, again, they have to make the component available.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So do you have anything that, these buyers try to solve a problem by bringing some solution? What did they do differently?
I think buyer is now over the period of time when the organization changes, depend upon uh, organization to organization. Sometimes buyer and the purchase planner are same. Sometimes buyer and the purchase planner responsibility is different. The best on our knowledge, I think what I think is when you make a make buy decision and we are going to bring a face on face out of new or introducing a new product, you should always take the buyer's view to make a make buy decision, which component you would like to buy, which component you want to make in house, and even including assembly. Now, in the current scenario, I understand over last 5 or 10 years, a lot of huge changes come into the manufacturing make buy decision making, more of a subcontract and buying the component at the finish level, including sub-assemblies or the process parts, high precision process parts, machining components. That time, I think a experienced buyer opinion come into the picture. You get into the table in the first and before you finalize your manufacturing bill of material, you take a input from the buyer to make a call on make buy decisions. That is going to help a long because they know which supplier, what capacity, from where they can get the components. So buyers say in the make buy decision is a very important to sustainability of the product availability and the component availability in the short term and the long term. That is
Great.
my experience. What I got it from the involvement with them and the feedback from them.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So another question I think which is common to I think every business is inventory controlling inventory. What are the challenges as inventory controller and what solutions are there to see that at the same time we also control the cost and improve customer service? So how did you manage that?
Inventory controller, I think it is always good if the responsibility lies with a production planner or master scheduler, because they are very close to the process. They are aware of all the ifs and buts and situations. So as an inventory controller, I think you should be more active and you should be always one step ahead and anticipate what is going on and what is you are expected to come in the coming months. So what you can plan, what you cannot plan. So considering all the what was your forecast accuracy, what was the production plan performance in the previous month, what the demand is coming, how the constraints are flowing from the in-house capacity or the production capacity constraint, what the supplier. So basically you get a big picture in your mind, hey, what is going to happen? That is where you come out with your suggestion and proposal. This is what is going to happen. This is what will be my this is what will be the organization inventory projection. And then you immediately come out with a very, if you are a one step ahead, you should generate your own what if scenarios. 1, 2, 3 scenarios. If this scenario open, this is what will be my inventory. So then the best option, the good inventory controller is going to put the present a situation or the picture to the management, tell me where you would like to go and get a strategic decisions so that everybody is agreed, oh, this is what is going to happen. Yes, okay, go ahead. So that is where you are going to control your inventory at the optimal and agreeable level. So everybody is happy.
Let me ask you that in terms of supply chain management, did you have something to do with tier 1 suppliers, tier 2 suppliers, tier 3 suppliers while you were doing planning? How did you coordinate with them?
Basically, this is, yes, we had a tier 1, 2 suppliers, but mostly it is managed by the buyer and the purchase planners. So scenario change means in a very typical scenario, like how did we get a very critical components? If it is a critical components, is a highly uh, high performance component or the performance related component of the engine or the machine, it comes from outside, then you don't have a much control. If you are sourcing from the India, then you have to be dependent on the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 suppliers. Forging is casting coming from somebody, machining is somewhere else, or you're doing in-house, then you are sub-assembling, then that sub-assembly is to be tested and before you assemble on the main line. So there are, yes, definitely tier 1 and 2 suppliers role come into picture.
So what were the key KPIs or performance measurements in terms of planning that you had, which you managed?
The planning is basically the brief performance measure is the basically if you see the production point of view, the manufacturing point of view, the facility point of view, manufacturing facility, the key performance for them is the MPS production plan customer delivery performance, and then of course the inventory optimum inventory, how much you are holding. That is the major one where the manufacturing facility is concerned. Of course, they have some other performance like inventory record accuracy. Then you have a quality. There are so many performance indicators are there. Assembly, they have a internal performance indicators at the each stage and all. How do they test the machine? How they move it to the next? And when you test the final machines and the product, what are the errors, gaps, and PPM? Sometimes they comes. So these are all a different performance, but basically, if you go into the production planning and master scheduling point of view, is the MPS production plan and the inventory accuracy. And I think when you move down to the new IT and ERP systems, there are new measures, micro level measures are introduced like master data accuracy, replenishment time accuracy, POU availability. So it is not like still you remain dependent on the manpower. Even you generate all the documents through the ERP system, but did you physically move the material to POU? That is a lot of manpower and the manual intervention is still there. Most of the, unless otherwise you gone to the totally 100% robotics and assembly line.
Did you have automation? I mean, like the robotics, and you talk about assembly line.
No, not when I was there. It was not. It was only in the maybe they are introduced in the manufacturing side, but not at that.
Right. So let me ask you about your personal journey, starting from your graduation till you retired. How did you, have so much experience, and how did you manage to get into so many different roles?
I think for that, getting into so many different roles, I will definitely thanks my company. They have a really very good work atmosphere and given me a lot of opportunity. So to start with, I started my career in the purchasing organization as a purchase assistant in an engine manufacturing facility in Hosur. And after completing my post-graduation in science, after 1 year and all, I think I realized that, and after talking to my real life, when I get into real life situation and talking to my colleagues, that this is not going to take me anywhere. I will have to add on some more knowledge and up my no to support my career growth and the expected line what I expect. So the first thing was to build your credibility. You have to work hard, gain in-depth knowledge of whatever work is given to you, and get the practical knowledge of the associated processes, job role, whichever job role you are. In the meantime, I started working on to enhance my knowledge. I done a 6-month diploma in import export management. That time liberalization was just started. So I thought I may get some more break, but it was not sufficient. So after that, I did a diploma, postgraduate diploma in materials management. The part-time, both the courses were in part-time, which I worked very hard on that. And at the same time, this courses, what I did is get me the additional responsibility. Maybe I done those additional. So I was in the purchasing. Then that time there was a one production planning, and this all before that used to be word PPC, production planning and control. That's how I got the opportunity and I accepted the role of the PPC role with production planner, master scheduler, this all. Then now it's called as supply chain. Earlier is the production planning and control. After becoming a production planner, I think I got a more responsibility is the bill of material creation, manufacturing master data control, and production planning, inventory, and engineering change control also I manage. Once you are managing bill of material, you have to manage the engineering change controls. And during that period, I have managed at least 3 to 4 ERP system manual and self-developed ERP system transitions. Then we've gone for the SAP implementation. So I was a production planning SME, which was 2 years of almost assignment in the SAP implementation. Then I got an opportunity to Six Sigma Black Belt based on my successful completion of SAP. Then I switch over the line. I come to other part of the demand team. I joined the sales and marketing team as a business planning manager. And after a couple of years, I got an opportunity to lead the SAP deployment in Thailand. There were greenfield facilities. First, I was selected for a one facility, which a construction equipment. Then I was given the additional responsibility of managing SAP deployment for two facilities, one the underground mining and the construction industry. And after that, come to the latest one like data analytics team and supply chain network modeler. So this is, I was lucky to get the job as well as with the full ownership of discharging the duty. I can say I was lucky with that.
So looking back, in your entire career, if you have to start everything all over again, what would you do differently?
Definitely, I would like to start my career again in the manufacturing organization in supply
I
chain, no
see.
doubt
Okay.
about it. But the scenario has changed a lot over the period of time. I would like to come with the basic, I can say 3 basic skills I would like to have before I join is the basic computer skills. Everybody is, I think it's a must. Then you have I will come with the soft skills, the communication and presentation skills should be much better. The things have changed a lot. And of course, if I have any supply chain skills like if you have a materials management or epics or CPI training, that will be a very, very plus if I have to start my career again.
I think you also completed CPIM.
Yes, in
That was
2006.
2006. Yeah, 2006.
2004, 2004 I completed.
2004. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now I think what is your suggestions to our listeners, to accelerate their career in supply chain management? Like you said that you have to have computer skills, you have to have soft skills, and then you have to have materials management, CPIM. So do you have any more suggestions for listeners? I mean, I think one thing you indirectly said is a lot of hard work is required to be done.
I think in supply chains field is you have to build your credibility, whichever job role you are. And supply chain is end-to-end supply chain is a very vast field. If possible, I will suggest a person to accept the additional responsibility and try to switch the roles within supply chain every 2 to 3 years. And that's how you gain more knowledge and move up. And at the working, if there is any internal certification or courses are offered by the company like Six Sigma or you are getting into the lean manufacturing, you go for that. And any new initiative comes by the company, you please jump into that and accept the responsibility, because this get you the visibility across the organization and expose you to new job role, which will make you ready for the future growth.
Thank you so much. Now, I think you are now a freelancer, So as a consultant, so what services do you provide as a consultant?
No, I not actually, in fact, provided any noteworthy services to I can share with you all. But this only thing I will just guide my friends and colleagues if anybody reach out to me for advice or input or anything of any master data clarifications they have manufacturing master data. So I'll just share with them. I not started anything which I can share with you.
All right, all right. So Lakshmi, so I think if you can give LinkedIn that link so that people can contact him, that will really help. So coming to the question answer sessions, I think if people have any questions, they can please put in the chat box. There's one question which is coming from Rahul. Which solvers algorithms used at Caterpillar supply chain planning, especially for demand forecasting? Did you use any solver or algorithms?
No, we didn't use anything. The Caterpillar is having a ERP system, SAP based ERP system, and all the demand planning and all is demand is loaded and MRP is run. So no,
So whatever is
like
built into SAP, you use that,
yes,
not anything, any
not
other
separately.
software.
No.
Good. So I think Asif is typing a question. If others also have a question, they can also put in the chat box. Or if someone wants to unmute and speak, that is also not a problem now. So I think Anirudh has asked a questions now. Since so many advanced AI/ML based techniques have been included in SAP and other ERPs, do you think it really has improved forecasting and planning?
To be frank with Aniruddha, I am not in touch in last 5 to 10 years because I was in a different role. Uh, I will, if really required, I will check and get back to you. But what I just explained, the forecasting and planning is still remain the more or less is the art than the science. You can take the input, but ultimately you are going to take the actual facts before you put the numbers there. Yes, this AI and ML is going to get you only the output and the suggestion. But when you take a call, you have to take the real time actual what is happening in the ground level. That's where you load your MRP demand.
Yeah, so Anirudh, I can also chip in here. I think with new algorithms, AI/ML based, uh, I don't expect a huge amount of improvement in forecast accuracy. There will be some, but not a very huge amount of forecast accuracy. So I think next question is coming from Asif.
Yeah.
So Asif is saying, how do you manage the risk assessment and what is contingency plan specifically for S&OP deviations?
So the risk management is always is part of the demand review and supply review meeting, and it is inbuilt in the process of the SNOP. So whenever you come up for the finalization of the production or shipment plan, you always come out with the constraints or the challenges what you have. And if you are going for a major change, let's say if you are planning for a increase of 20% build or shipment plan or reducing 20%, you come back with those assessments and put it across organization what we should be doing it. Whether you need some help or you are going to cancel some orders or you are going to cancel some supplier shipments, that you take a call. So that is purely covered before and after that you take a deviation or the asymptotic deviation. You make it's like a more of a strategic decision after taking into confidence of all the stakeholders and the process owners, and pros and cons is presented to the management. This is what is going to happen. These are the risk. These are the outcome, and this is what we would suggest to do it. And many times you get a support from the management. Okay, this is the right solution or decision should be taken.
Great. Thank you so much. So if anyone has any more questions, you would like to unmute and ask and interact with Mr. Hemant, you are more than welcome. We have not much time left, but you can unmute and ask. Yeah, you are welcome, Asif.
Thanks, Asif.
All right, I think we will close the session now. So I think So I'd like to thank Hemant, for giving his practical insight into planning, production planning, S&OP planning, forecasting, demand, very critical thing, and to how to manage inventory. And I would like to thank every participant also for coming and joining. We will inform about availability of the recording. So soon the recording is going to be made available, and we'll inform you about the recording availability. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Ravindraji.
Thank you.
Nice to connect you again.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Hemant and Ravindra.
Thanks.
Thank you.